Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm making this film today because I want to share with you that this is my very first orchid anniversary to the day, which I know because I still might receive my first orchids, which is the 1st of November. And I'm excited about that because it's pretty rare for me to actually maintain a hobby for longer than like half a year. I tend to get tired and switch interests rather quickly. So I'm like super pleased that I've managed to maintain interest in orchids for a full year. And to me it signals that it's a long-term thing, which, sorry Hugo, we're gonna be spending more money on that and we're gonna have less space, but it will be worth it because I'm sure our house will smell and look beautiful. And to celebrate my first year of growing orchids, I thought I'd talk a bit about what I learned and, my heights and my lows, that kind of typical cheesy thing, and kind of like the highs and lows. So let me start off by thanking everyone who has kind of like supported me and helped me through this hobby. So first of all, thank you Hugo for allowing this green to take over your house and kind of indulging me in my crazy new hobby that you never signed up for. But hopefully it will be worth it and our house will smell and look beautiful in the future. Also, thank you to my friends and family who suddenly had someone who was obsessed with orchids, who in the past never cared about plants whatsoever and wouldn't shut up about them all of a sudden. I'm sorry, you've had it hard, but thankfully I found other friends that I can vent to now who are more into orchids. So that's one thing that I've gained over this last year. It's a lot of new friends actually. I have friends from all corners of the world, from the USA to the UK to Australia, like literally all the corners of the world. And we just talk about orchids on a daily basis and it's amazing, it's great. And I think that's the greatest thing I've actually gained from this hobby so far. It's just simply the new contacts I've made. And it's been a great journey with all of you. So thank you for all of that. So I thought also I'd talk about that I enjoyed most about the hobby so far. Which really, I have to say, the most rewarding thing that I found about orchid growing so far is that first sign of new growth when you bring a new orchid into your home. Because sometimes you have these orchids that kind of like fuss around, they stall a bit, they don't like your new home and it's slightly colder or slightly drier than where they're from. And you are always in this kind of like small amount of tension, like how will this orchid adapt, will it do well? And then when you see that first fresh new growing root tip, it's just, it feels so great, it looks so great. And on second place, I have to say, is that first flower spike I saw. When I saw the very first flower spike on my Phalaenopsis from the IKEA, which now has a crazy keiki, I'll show you her. When I first saw this flower spike emerge, I was ecstatic because it was like validation, I knew my orchids weren't dying on me, but I hadn't made them flower yet either. And this was the very first sign of a plant that was happy enough to flower. However, it was a bit of a fake out because in the end I got a keiki and not a flower. Nevertheless, it was still like a super big high for me. It was definitely one of the heights. Then one of the second heights would have been when this one here bloomed, which is the golden peacock. And it's done blooming now. You can see a dry flower spike here and it's already started on its new growth. But oh my god, when I first saw those actual buds, I was so happy. It was really an addictive feeling and it did not help my orchid collecting habits. It made it worse, but I knew now that I could make things flower and I knew I had enough light, so I may as well just go for it. The problem being now, of course, that we've moved homes again, so I have to reassess that. I have no idea what light levels are like in here actually, because we have a very different kind of situation. We have a more southwest facing window and north facing windows, so that's a lot less light than the southeastern window we had before. But I'm confident we'll figure something out, and otherwise I can start looking into grow lights, which will be a whole new thing to learn about, which will also be great. Another high of my orchid journey was when I ordered orchids online for the very first time, because I started out, as most people, just getting orchids from flower shops or from supermarkets. And that was cool until I went online more and saw what other kinds of orchids were out there. And I never saw those in supermarkets or flower shops. So I went online and I made my very first purchase at Klassen Orchids. And I was so pleased when I got those. And I'll just collect them for you and show them how they're doing now. And these were the 4 orchids I got my very first orchid order, which I got for my birthday, sponsored by family and friends. And they've grown so much by now, especially this little Kingianum over here. It used to be just I think 3 or 4 growths, and you can see it's grown quite a lot in the last year. I'm super pleased with that. And of course here you have the golden peacock, which did actually flower. This is the Laelia harpophylla, which did not flower, unfortunately, but it did grow to very nice new growths. And back there you have the Cherry Baby Sweet Fragrance, I think it's called. And it has done nothing for the past 4 months. I think it was too hot for it. It's only started growing the last few weeks again, and it's only now finally beginning to mature a pseudobulb on one of its 4 growths. Yes, 4 growths. So we'll see whether it feels like spiking. I don't know, because the bulb was quite a lot smaller than the previous one, but maybe we'll get lucky, and otherwise one of the other 3 might spike when it's finally mature. We'll see. And definitely another high in my orchids growing year was the success I had with this Ignotis Wine Delight, which is all pooped out now. You can see it's dropped its flowers and it's reclaiming the energy from the spike. But seriously, that was an amazing bunch of flowers. I was so happy with it, and the flower count was pretty damn high for this type of orchid, I must say. The Wine Delight typically gets, I think I read, between 8 and 10 blooms, something like that. Mine had 15 buds, 2 of which blasted. I'm very upset about that, but it still had 13 blooms, which is still a lot. I haven't seen one other Wine Delight so far which had a bloom count greater than that, and that one actually has 16 blooms, which is blowing my mind. So there is still room for improvement, but that was definitely a high point. However, where there have been high points, there have also been some low points, unfortunately. I did have a few orchid deaths, actually, and 2 of those happened in the very start, with an Alicera and an Oncidium, which I didn't know how to assess the roots properly yet. And I was always told that if anything felt papery or thin or squishy, you have to cut it out, because dead roots will ruin your media and kill other roots, so you had to cut away all the bad roots. Well, that turned out to be bad advice for me, because I couldn't properly assess those roots. All of them seemed papery or squishy to me, so basically I cut everything off. I was a butcher. And those plants died. They did. They're thrown away now. They're gone. The Alicera, I think you might have seen on my Instagram a few times. It just withered away after a long time of struggling to grow a little growth. And the red Oncidium died much faster than that. And before you see 2 other failures. This is a Nelly Eiler that my mom gave me, and it looked for a while like it would recover, but no more. Here, I've taken them out of the media before to assess it. You can see the rot on the pseudobulb on this one. So that's a goner. And with this one you can see that the new growth, which was looking so promising, has completely died off. And there's a bunch of mold problems. And I'm pretty sure I saw rot on one of these as well. Yeah, the back bulb. The back bulb here has rot. But I think I'm going to give up with this. It looked so promising for a while, and then it just tanked. So that's another failure, I'm afraid. And the second failure is right over here. And I'm totally gutted about this one as well, because not that I'm not upset about Nelly Eiler my mum gave me, but it was in bad state when I got it, and I kind of prepared myself for it potentially not working out, because Nelly Eilers are kind of known to be fussy. But this one was not supposed to die. Oh, guys, another failure live on camera. What? It just broke off. Okay, well, I think you can see what I mean with this plant. It's not supposed to be like this. I don't know what's wrong with it. Actually, if you look at the leaf joint here, it's not an open wound. It was already trying to get rid of this leaf. Well, it was still green. What's going on with this thing? Either way, it doesn't really matter, because what I saw this very morning, you see this on the stem right here. Yep, that looks like stem rot. So this here orchid is pretty much done for. Yeah. Totally rot through to the center. I don't think there's any saving this. You can see it really is in the stem. It's not the outer leaf. I could try cutting away at it and hope that I remove it without damaging the growing crown, but even then, what on earth am I expecting from a single leaf like this? Right? This is not one of those typical garden weeds that grow from anything. This is an orchid. They're fussy and they grow slow and they need more resources than this single leaf, I'm pretty sure. So I'm afraid that's another one for the bin today. That was very disappointing. And if you're wondering which one this is actually one of the plants from the Orchidarium, which really struck me as surprising because they are usually very healthy and very mature. It's a no ID with brilliantly pink flowers, which I'll show on the screen somewhere. And they looked a lot like a Violacia Jean Magenta. That's what I went with. And they smelled delicious. And I knew when I bought it that it wasn't the healthiest plant because you could see that the newest leaves were smaller than the older ones, which is a clear sign of stress. And I didn't see many roots in the pot. I didn't quite get how bad it would be though. So it ended up in here, which was the little ICU that I had the Trespass Crossopelina in as well, which is doing a bit better now, which is good. But this one didn't pull through. It just didn't do anything except drop leaves for the last 3 months. And then today I saw that spot and I thought, well, game over. Clearly, completely game over. So that's a shame. That really, really is a shame. That's a low point. It's unfortunate. But you know, it is my first orchid anniversary and it won't do to be so depressed. I'll try the age-old fix that people have always tried when they've killed an orchid, which is go get new ones. So, to celebrate my very first orchid anniversary, I know I went there last week, but I'm going there again. I am visiting the Orchidarium. Let's pack our bags. Back home with my new purchases. Guys, I'm so excited about these orchids. Let me show you. It is, as you might have already expected, another 2 Phalaenopsis. I did go in actually for that big Paphiopedilum that I saw last time that I liked so much. The Sways Within, I think it's called. However, when I got there, I was told that the flowers weren't going to last for much longer. And if I came back in the spring, they'd have far more multifloral Paphiopedilums with much better blooming than this one. So I decided to wait for that and just research a bit more until that time, so I'm more prepared when I actually do go and buy the plants. So there is a multifloral Paphiopedilum in my future. Unfortunately, it's not today quite yet. However, I got 2 other orchids today that I'm super excited about, and they are, again, Phalaenopsis. But they're really cool ones. Okay, so this is the extra cool one. I'm going to start with the other cool one. And you can see it's in the big box. And that might give you a hint as to the fact that this is a giant Phalaenopsis. And when I say giant Phalaenopsis, I think some of you already know what I'm talking about here. There's a particular species of Phalaenopsis named the Phalaenopsis gigantea. Sounds pretty close to giant, doesn't it? And the Phalaenopsis gigantea is known to be huge. It has really big leaves. It grows slowly, but it makes really big structures. And this is not the gigantea itself, but it is a most wonderful hybrid, a primary hybrid with the Tetraspis. So a primary hybrid with the Tetraspis, and just look at those flowers. I absolutely love them. They smell good too, by the way. I mean, it's just a typical florally smell that you get with some Phalaenopsis, but I really like it personally. Let me get a better shot of it so you can see the whole plant. The best place I could find to hang it is actually my wardrobe door, because the rest of the house, it hangs too far down with the flower spike, so I can't film it. So I can't actually film this with my tripod either, which is why the screen's a little bit less stable. But anyway, let's get you in a little bit closer. root this, kind of remove it. There. I really like these flowers. And the thing is, I just said that it was Gigantea crossed with the Traspis. But in actuality, it's not entirely certain, because the tag says... Oh my god, take it down from there for a second. There we go. The tag actually says that it's crossed with Sumatrana, as you see there. But the owner of the Orchidarium had his doubts, because in his experience, Sumatrana crosses have a more vibrant red on the flowers than what I'm seeing here. So those tend to have a more vibrant red apparently than this. This is a little bit more muted. But, so yeah, he suspected it might be a Tetraspis cross, which tends to have a more muted kind of red. But either way, I absolutely love it. And it's not just the flowers that I like either. Look at those roots. Look at that wild growth just hanging down like that. It is so dramatic. I really enjoy this personally. I think it's a fantastic display, and I need to find a good place to hang it, like on a wall or something. This is just... I'm not going to have paintings in my house anymore, guys. I'm just going to have orchids hanging from the walls. This is amazing. And if you look at the size of those leaves... Let me just compare it with my hand. So I'm going to put my hand on the leaf node. It is significantly larger than my hand. See that? Actually, let me get a measuring tape for you. Alright, so I've got my tape measure here. And I'm just going to put one end on the axis and one end on the end of this leaf. And you can see that it's a grand size of 23 and a half, almost 24 centimeters. I mean, that's pretty big in my experience. In fact, they had bigger ones there. They had Phalaenopsis gigantea extra large or something, and I kid you not, those leaves were twice as big as this one. It was humongous. I did not get that. That is not an apartment plant. But I have a problem because I tend to really like these Gigantea hybrids. But they also tend to be absolutely huge. And since I live in an apartment with very limited window space, that might become a problem in the future. But so far I only have 2 Gigantea hybrids. That's all exaggerate. Everything will be okay. But I really like them. Which is also a problem because they're really slow growers and I'm also an impatient person. But we'll see how that goes in the future. Now this next one is extra special because it's actually a pretty rare orchid that is quite difficult to find in Europe. According to the owner of the Orchidarium, he is actually one of the first to actually import it into Europe. Now I've had a quick look online. I know that Swerter actually also has this, so he's not the only one. But I'm not sure Swerter has one that's quite this mature. Because you guys are going to be amazed when you see the amount of spikes in this one. So, if we look at the tag, it is named Phalaenopsis speciosa Mickey's Purple, which I've looked online and I've heard of it before as well. It's a pretty rare plant here in Europe. You don't see that very often. So I'm super excited about this. And actually once he saw my enthusiasm, I'm referring to the owner of the Orchidarium, he immediately directed me to this plant here, which, well, let's just count the spikes together, shall we? We have one spike here with 4 buds and the fifth, actually 5 buds already. And 6, sorry, there's one making a weird little angle over here. 6 buds already on this one spike. Then we have a second spike here with another 4 buds. We have a third spike here still forming. We then have a 4th spike here still forming. We have a, let me just turn it. Wait, how many do we have by now? Was it 4 already? It was 4 already, damn. Here we have a 5th, also forming already 3 buds and a branch here forming some buds. We have a 6th. Right over here. We have a 7th. Let me just detangle these. A 7th here forming buds and a branch. An 8th over here with a branch and 2 branches actually and several buds. And oh god, I hope that's all of them because oh nope, look, here's number 9. A 9th one. We have 9 spikes on this thing, guys. 9 whole spikes. Isn't that absolutely mad? And on top of that, some of those are coming from this keiki here. which I am absolutely leaving on because I think it's absolutely brilliant to have such a big bushy Phalaenopsis with 1,000 spikes. Okay, it wasn't 1,000, it was, how much did I say? 10? 11? I have the memory of a goldfish. Either way, this is absolutely spectacular, and I cannot wait until those sprouts open and it's in full bloom. It's going to be an amazing display. And actually the owner, he told me this is his most mature one that he has, and he asked me whether I would send him pictures once it flowers. And obviously I will. I'll be taking pictures for Instagram as well and all that stuff. But yeah, he was as excited as I am. And it's just so great that he immediately dragged me to this plant. And I have never seen a Phalaenopsis with this many spikes before. So I'm super pleased about this, and I cannot wait for it to bloom. Honestly, I'm almost scared to own it because it's doing so fantastically well and it's so mature and so just all striking actually in how well it's doing with the flowering, that I'm worried I'm going to mess it up. So I'm going to be extra careful with this one. I'm not messing with the medium at all until it's completely done flowering. I'm going to wait till spring and I see new roots, and only then will I start looking at the repot or anything like that. I am not giving this one a chance to throw a fuss. This display has to happen right here. So yeah, that's Speciosa, Mickey's purple, and I'm sure that in a few days the first buds will open, and maybe a week or two we'll have more face display, and I'll definitely be doing a follow-up video featuring this plant because this is absolutely amazing. I struck gold here. If anyone from the Orchidarium ever watches my videos, which, well, I doubt, but if any of you do, thank you so much. You guys have the most amazing nursery, and your service, the way you treat your clients and help them and show them the plants that they think they will like, is absolutely top-notch. It's really an amazing place. Thank you so much, guys. I was just recounting the amount of spikes because my goldfish brain already forgot how many there are, and I got to 9. But there's actually a 10th on the way as well. Hold on, let me show you. You see that over there? As a 10th little spike peeking out. This is crazy. As far as health is concerned, they seem pretty good. Like the Gigantia hybrid, you can see already there's a bunch of roots on the surface, and I've no doubt there's going to be just as many roots in the pot itself. You have a whole lot of aerial roots hanging out here with the flowers. So, you know, and the leaves look glossy and big. I have zero worries about this Gigantia hybrid. It is healthy. And then you have the Speciosa Purple Mickey, which, I mean, look at those glossy leaves. Look at all those spikes. I doubt it would do that if it wasn't like healthy and energetic and everything. However, they warned me that they received it recently in September, and as such they repotted it, and it hasn't got much new growth yet. So here you have one root tip that's coming out now. Down here you have a few roots. And down here. So he warned me to be careful with this one because it is a healthy plant, but it hasn't really gotten used to its new potting media yet. So another reason to be really careful with that one and not mess with it. But I'm sure everything will be alright if I just take extra care. And don't mess around with it. I'm not putting that in self-watering leca. Not yet, no. So in the end, this was an absolutely wonderful celebration of my first orchid anniversary. I got a really special plant right here. I really look forward to seeing the display on that one. And I need to find a good place for my Phalaenopsis gigantea, because this is definitely a hanging plant. I cannot just put it on the shelf anywhere. It needs to, like you can see the way the flowers kind of cascade down, it needs to be up higher somewhere so that it's above eye level and you can actually see the flowers properly hanging downwards. But I'm sure I can find a place for that somewhere. Maybe like on the lights on the ceiling. See those lights there? They were put there before we came in. I think they're pretty ugly, but they do look like railings, and I wonder if they're strong enough to hold the plant. I'm probably going to regret trying it, but maybe I'll try it. Anyway, this sure chased away the sorrows of losing the Nelly Eiler and probably losing the no ID that looked like a Violacia. But honestly, I am super pleased with these quote-unquote replacement plants. Yeah, I cannot be more pleased with today. This is fantastic. So I'm going to find them a nice spot in the room. I'm going to start editing this video together, and I'll see if I can upload today for you guys so you get to see it on my Orchid anniversary. Yay! Thank you so much for watching and for sticking with my YouTube and everything. And I haven't been doing YouTube for a year yet, but I'm sure that anniversary will come too. And thank you, all of you who have supported me in this hobby and who have bonded with me over orchids and listened to me drone on about them. Sorry mom, sorry dad, I know I have an obsession. Now you have 2 children with obsessions. Thank you so much for watching everyone, and I'll see you next time. Bye!